It's a semantic issue which becomes a spiritual one, which is if you say the words Judeo-Christian, you are giving equal value to Judaism and Christianity. And if you're a Christian and it says there is only one way to the Father and that's through me, then the Judeo aspect of it, if you live in a Christian country, doesn't really come into anything. And seeing as the Jews are there's only 14 million Jews in the world, there's 1-point-something billion Muslims and similar numbers of Christians. The semantic issue is to go Judeo-Christian, you could then go Judeo-Christian Islamic values. Willkommen auf Series 3, the Fox and Father. Sorry, we've both been sailing some seas of tribulations, and we haven't really had much time to get together. But we are now back and settled. Calvin is in America, which is, let's face it, a relief. And I am not in prison, so also a relief. In season 3, we shall attempt to make people even happier with our very, very, very commonsensical and non-controversial opinions about everything. And actually, I've got one for Calvin today, which was sent to me by a mutual friend, which I'm going to get and surprise him with halfway through. But first and foremost, this is Fox and Father with me, the Fox, and him, the
Father.
Let's do that again.
I'm not used to this ramble before the introduction.
Sorry, I can't. I thought
you were going to go, und das heißt Erika. I was like, where is this going?
Where is this going? And welcome, season 3 of Fox and Father with me, the Fox, and him, the
Father.
There we are. We've got quite a lot to catch up on, I imagine.
We've got a lot to catch up on.
How the devil are you?
Firstly, how are you? How is married life?
If you want it, then you're going to put a ring on it. If you're on it, then you're going to put a ring on it. So
I was very pleased that nobody lost the rings, I'll be honest.
I know. Dear little Beau had a guard for, he was under constant supervision for the entire period, which was great. And Justin did amazingly. I'm married now.
Congratulations.
Day 3. Thank you so much. Day 3 of our marriage, she went off to Wimbledon.
Yeah, fair.
I didn't get invited. So
starters you mean to go on, I say.
No crumpet, and when I say crumpet, I mean the actual English crumpet thing that you eat, which I have for breakfast, and no coffee.
You know what better than crumpets though? Pikelets.
What are they?
So no one outside of the north knows about pikelets. They're like thinner crumpets. They're delicious because sometimes crumpets get a bit doughy. Pikelets don't. Anyway, carry on.
Okay, so yeah, that's it. We're married. It's happened. Or if in Daily Mail speak, Nazi priest marries rapist racist to conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, I got downgraded. I'm no longer a Nazi priest. I'm now just a controversial priest. So,
oh, I'm sorry. How does that make you feel?
I don't care what the Daily Mail says, but it was a beautiful wedding, wasn't it? It was really, really lovely. Lots of good people there, and it was nice to all come together to celebrate you two, you and Lizzie. It was special.
It was amazing, and in the end, with all the complications that we went through with what are they called? The Church of Satanism? No, the Church
the blue-haired, lesbian, liberal, local parish non-vicar.
Yeah, exactly. The godless Christian, as I like to call a lot of them. And we ended up obviously going to the registry office a week before because they wanted to take part in the day as well. They were like, we're going to conduct a really big, long 30, 40 minute ceremony. I'm like, I don't want to, that bit where you sign on the dotted line. That's what we're after. And she was like, well, what vows do you want? And it's like, you can write them. I don't care. The shortest version. And actually, to be fair to Jill at Colchester Town Hall, she really was respectful and nice and took her job seriously. And it was a good day. And my dad came up and Lizzie's mate Ingrid came up and
I love Ingrid. She's great.
So we're married in the eyes of Keir Starmer, or as of Thursday, the 24th of June, but we're married as in the real sense, as of Friday, the 4th of July. Oh, say can we
That was interesting. The American national anthem came on during your wedding reception. I thought this was the most treasonous thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, really? Were you annoyed?
Fun.
I thought it was quite good.
You know, as a priest, I prefer funerals to weddings because people are generally more faithful at funerals. But yours was genuinely special. I think it was fantastic. I loved every moment of it.
What do you mean?
Bar one, before I got to your wedding, the first person I met was a guy, this posh liberal guy who was telling me how great the Archbishop of the ACNA is, how great Steve Woods is. And I was uncharacteristically stum. You know, this is the guy that wrote an article about how I'm a Nazi and basically got me fired from the American church. I was like, okay.
Was he at our wedding?
Yes. I will tell you the guy's name afterwards, but he was best friends with him apparently. And his mentor. But after that, it was, I mean, to be on the dance floor, the last people on the dance floor with the bridesmaids, Julia Hartley-Brewer, her husband, and Charlie. It was it was an epic time. It was good fun.
I know. I'm gonna drop you in it, but a girl quite fancied you because she went, "Oh my lord, the priest is dancing along to come and look. He's dancing along to Tupac and rapping." And I was like,
with Julia Hartley-Gay. I mean, what more could you ask for?
Julia Hartley-Brewer is the life and soul of any
She
party.
really is fantastic.
We had a no celebs rule for the wedding, except for, Julia's kind of a celeb, I suppose, in a way, but except for Julia and Alison Pearson, who I adore. And,
she's great.
Julia could drink half that congregation under the table. No problem.
And don't forget the wonderful Holly Valance, who I absolutely adore as well.
Yes, and we adore Holly. She is because she is famous. I am forgetting. She's but I didn't know her when she was like a famous singery person, so I just see her as Holly.
Yeah.
And a wonderful, hilarious person she is too. So everyone said how nice their wedding was, and I think it was really nice. And it was a very, very special. And if anything, I mean, trying to find things to complain about, it was a bit hot.
Good problem.
But you were in the full garb. So my heart went out to you a bit, and my dear dad, who is no spring chicken at 86, even though he's still very much there. And then we didn't manage to go on a honeymoon yet. We'll do it at some point. I went to bed at about 10:30 because I always go to bed about 10:30, and Eugene was exhausted and did so. I mean, the speeches I'm so sad. I mean, I respect his privacy, but I would love to post his speech online. It's the funniest speech I have ever seen. So he did that. I managed to get through my speech without blubbing, and Jeremy and toasting people said they had lovely tables, and it was just a great moment. As 10 years, I realized, since I signed the other bit of paper, the one that says you're not married.
Right.
So yeah, there you go. 10 years, and it took me 10 years to find the right a woman insane enough to want to spend the rest of her life with me. So sorry about that, Liz. But there you go, babe. You're in now. You can't get out quickly. Anyway, well, actually, how quickly if we wanted an annulment now, could you get one in within a month or so?
I don't think so. I don't think that's on the cards. Anyway,
it's not on the cards.
It was
it was great, and we loved the fact that it was personal. There was not a single person there that we didn't want to have there, and I was brutal about their people that were and weren't invited. There are swathes of people that weren't invited that I feel not that bad about, because after a few years of what we've been through, you really work out who is actually genuinely there for you and who isn't. So you might as well just have people who are there for you.
That's true.
And it was all the better for it, and all the better to make those promises in front of you.
That's why it was so special, because it was genuinely just people who care. It wasn't like one of these, it's just a do, we have to go to it was like everyone there meant something to each other. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I was getting a bit, I did get slightly clammy hands when you stood up for your sermon. Because I thought, what's he going to talk about? Because I know he's going to go, marriage is between a man and a woman, which we all agree on. I'm a bit of a wet liberal, as you know, when it comes to not the marriage aspect, but the actual being gay thing. And I was waiting for you to start going down that path, and you sort of did. But then I thought maybe you could try and swing a bit of Islam into this somewhere, but you didn't. It was very good.
I kept it truthful, but subtle.
Anyway. Well, my Chris, he's a friend, and who trains me, because at the end of the day, I've just realised you've got to be fit more often. And he was like, that sermon really made me think about God. I want to know more about God.
Good.
And I was like, well, there you go. Even if it's one person that you touch so beautifully. So heaven. And then we got 3 more chickens, and what else? I got a motorbike, and
So I saw you put a picture out. You're fixing little parts on it or something.
Yeah, I can't be dealing with the drive to London, because I drive down to London to see Eugene, and I just find that drive a killer. So
can we talk about this? This was my first time driving in the UK.
Right.
So my first time driving on the wrong side of the road. Right.
On the right side of the road, Calvin.
The driving on the left is fine, but driving in London is hell. It's worse than New York. It's worse than DC. Everyone's edging in and out. There's no movement, and then there's every movement, and people park on both sides of the roads. You've got two-way traffic, but you can't drive two-way. It's like the whole system does not work.
It's a deliberate war by Sadiq Khan on the motorist. As we've said before, we can't ban you from driving a car, because that would be authoritarian. So what we'll do is just make the experience so miserable that you don't want to do it. So I got a motorbike so I can nip in and out of traffic. And I thought that I would try and do some DIY, because I quite like doing DIY. Don't do DIY on a motorbike.
No.
That's the only piece of advice I have for anybody out there who isn't qualified. Leave your DIY to strange constructions of pizza ovens and the odd bit of 2 or 3 tracks of bricks, or whatever they're called. So that was that, and we got more chickens. We've just
be careful on the motorbike, because I know you're a bit of a speed.
Yeah, but I bought a motorbike which isn't. I used to have rocket ships, and I did realize the first time I got on it that the last time I got on a motorbike was when I broke my neck.
Let that be a reminder to you every single time you get on it.
Yeah. So hopefully I'm sure a lot of our friends on social media who like transing children would be thrilled if I had a miscarriage of justice on a motorbike. But I have 2 rules on motorbikes. One is keep a headlight on full blast. 3 rules: headlight on full blast all the time. You don't need to do it so much at night, but during the day, it annoys car drivers, but they often don't see you. The second one is get all of the baffles removed from your exhaust, so it's noisy. Not so you don't sound cool, but so you can blip your engine if you're coming up to someone who is literally about to turn right in front of you without even looking in their mirrors. And the third one is to go faster than the traffic, so you don't have to spend too much time looking behind you. And it's been those rules have got me through everything except the Sahara Desert where I broke my neck.
Okay, well, be careful. I will now, but yeah.
How the devil are you? Your beard is gone.
It is. I'm good. I'm all right. It's summertime here in West Michigan. It's blooming lovely. I go to the beach pretty much every week at this point on my day off. It's marvelous. Church is back to normal. So we had, I can't remember what we discussed, but essentially the church is under temporary situation, but discerning for a permanent situation. We've got a bishop coming into town this week to meet with us. We've got one we're going to meet next week. So we're trying to make sure we find somewhere that's a good fit, because it's important. And we've got a mission that we're on here, and we want to grow the kingdom, and we want to save souls, and we're not going to be tied back by snobby elitists or liberals or anything like that. So we're on it. But the local parishes, we've been getting back to the usual same mass, feeding the poor, the usual kind of churchy stuff that we're supposed to be doing. And I realized a few weeks ago that it had got back to normal when people started asking about the nitpicky things. And I was like, okay, so we've gone. The normal drama is gone because people are like, oh, I prefer when we do that in the liturgy. Or, it's like the ordinary mundane stuff that is life. So that really pleased me to see that.
It's great. It's great that they've gone. I mean, obviously, we both get cancelled repeatedly for our views on almost every topic, but they really went for you this time, to the point of, I don't know how much, but they tried to. They literally, that bishop, that another sort of unpleasant human being, as far as I don't know him, but unpleasant acting man. He didn't stop at trying to ruin your ministry. He wanted you out of the country, didn't he? He wanted to get rid of you, and we are lucky in the fact that we have some good mates in America who will look out for us.
Yeah.
And we are blessed in that. So I think that I'm really, really pleased that cancellation didn't work. And you should be an example to people that cancellation is the wrong idea, generally.
Well, yeah, we're used to getting cancelled at this point. What I'm not used to is getting a pat on the back. And between our last episode, I actually received a reward. Now this is
what?
So unusual.
Wait, I'm gonna celebrate. I'm gonna celebrate with a cigar I bought.
Try and lift it up. This is genuinely heavy.
What is it?
Permanimeus in Justitia, the Boniface Award, Father Calvin Robinson, the Association of Classical Christian Schools, 2025. Now,
look at that. That's a proper piece of bronze.
I know. I was blown away because, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet. I accepted it for the greater glory of God, because we're all on this mission for the Missio Dei, the mission of the church. And so it's nice every now and then to have a little bit of recognition, as long as it doesn't go to our heads. But St. Boniface was a Benedictine monk. And Benedictines are like, they work, they pray, they work, they pray. That's their aura. And he returned to Mainz in Germany, which is a lovely place that I've been. In fact, I've been to the site where this took place. There were pagans worshipping a tree, literally worshipping a tree. And so what did he do? Did he win them over with winsomeness and niceness and say all ideas and faiths are equal? And actually, there's some truth to be told in worshiping the tree. No, he chopped the tree down. He chopped their pagan god down, a truthsayer. And that is why it's the St. Boniface Award, because that's what we must do. Speak truth at all times and chop down pagan trees. I love it.
Well, it's nice to see that you got more moderate over the preceding couple of months. It's good to hear, man. I'm with you. I'm with you. You can't, leaving them standing. The woke thing applies both ways. Silence is violence. Is complicity. Is whatever. If you're gonna, I'm starting to encounter a lot now of what I like to call the godless Christians. So the people, and I'm actually going to use this opportunity to surprise you. Okay. And you're going to have to take it. I'm going to leave the person who sent me the direct message anonymous, but I'm going to tell you that it's someone.
You're going quiet because you've moved your mic away from you.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Sorry, my microphone's being weird. As per. Right. So I'm not going to tell you the person who did it, who said this, but it's someone we know. And he sent me a tweet shot of going, someone called Buck Sexington, which I imagine is whatever, says far-right preacher turns out to be anti-Semitic. What a shock. He says, how can I be anti-Semitic? I live in a Jewish country. Got your naughty Calvin.
That's hilarious.
And then someone else says, Leo Terrell says, I'm going to eliminate Jewish taxes in America. And Calvin Robinson goes, I mean this for no disrespect as a Christian, but can I opt out of taxes too? Please, if we're doing religious exemptions, I wouldn't mind one. And then underneath the message from the person we know goes, why is Calvin pumping out all this anti-Semitic crap? And this person says, Jews have a country ? And Calvin says several. So would you like to explain the allegation of anti-Semitism, which has been leveled at you by someone we know?
Your thing is always never explain, never apologize.
Well, I think it is good to explain. So here, this is what I didn't tell him that I would have told him if I bothered, because I don't think it's my business. If someone's got a problem with someone, then they should go to that person. It's not my. What I would have said to him, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that it's a semantic issue which becomes a spiritual one, which is if you say the words Judeo-Christian, you are giving equal value to Judaism and Christianity. And if you're a Christian and it says there is only one way to the Father and that's through me, then the Judeo aspect of it, if you live in a Christian country, doesn't really come into anything. And seeing as the Jews are there's only 14 million Jews in the world, there's 1-something billion Muslims and similar numbers of Christians. The semantic issue is to go Judeo-Christian, you could then go Judeo-Christian Islamic values.
Which people have done. Recently, people were saying Judeo-Christian Muslim, as if it's the thing that I'll get to the faith part of it, but I want to start off with the worldly part of it. There's a post-war mentality, post-World War II mentality of, it's pre-woke actually, of victimhood, right? And just saying that word is going to trigger people straight away. The heckles are going to be up. But I want to talk about it seriously, because what happened to the Jews was not a good thing, right? We should never persecute or oppress any group, no matter what our feelings about those groups. We should never do that, right? So what happened during World War II was not a good thing. That's quite universally accepted. However, after World War II, the liberals kind of painted a picture of persecution and oppression that must last forever. So there are people that are stuck in this post-World War II mentality of right, so you can never question Israel, you can never make a joke about Judaism because of World War II. Yeah, I mean, World War II happened a good while ago now. We have to at some point not forget about it, but grow to a point where we can have conversations that are in good faith without assumptions of anti-Semitism. Because you can actually joke about Islam these days. You can joke about Christianity. You can joke about Hinduism and Buddhism. You cannot have a joke where the word Judaism is mentioned. Oh my gosh, he's anti-Semitic. It's like, come on, get out of here. That post was funny. Both of those posts were funny. And actually, well, the second one wasn't even a joke. It's like, what is a Jewish tax? And why are Jewish people no longer having to pay tax? I, as a Christian, don't want to pay tax. I think tax is theft. I think tax is abhorrent. If there's a way to have a religious exemption out of tax, I'm happy to take it. If you're giving it to the Jewish people, I'd like the Christians to get it too, please. I think that's a fair question to ask. And so, but we've reached this hysteria where just to even criticize or question or mention Judaism at all, or Israel at all, is instantly anti-Semitic. And it's the same thing we've had with racist, xenophobe, transphobe. It's like, I actually don't hate Jewish people. I've got lots of Jewish friends. I've spent time in Israel, had a wonderful time. And most of my Jewish friends joke about Judaism far more than I do. But I'm not going to cower to the woke liberal mob who idolize Israel, which brings me to the second part of it, which is spiritual. And it is mostly American, but we've been affected by it a little bit in Britain too, in that, and we saw this with the Ted Cruz interview. I've touched on it in my Common Sense Crusade, but when Ted Cruz says, we must bless Israel because then we'll be blessed, and Tucker Carlson says, where does it say that in the Bible? Well, it doesn't say that. And the bit that he was referring to in Genesis says, bless Abraham, right? And then Abraham's children, Isaac and Jacob, become Israel. But the people of Israel in the Bible, this is a very, very important point. The people of Israel in the Bible are God's chosen people. And now what we tend to see in modernity, especially amongst evangelicals, is this conflation of the Israel of the Bible with Israel of today, the states that were set up mostly by Britain in 1948, which, they could have chosen any name they wanted. But I get it that it's that geographical location, so it's important. And so they want that historical link, they want that biblical link, but it doesn't make it the same thing or the same people. And that's on every level. So spiritually, the God's chosen people were the Jews, and the Jews were called Israel. However, Jesus Christ came, grafted us in, the Gentiles, the non-Jews in, and so Jew and Gentile are grafted in together. And those who follow Christ are God's chosen people. And so Israel is the church, and we call the church the spiritual Israel or the new Israel. And then so these evangelicals will pipe up, you're saying they were replaced. No, not replaced at all. The Jews of the time who followed their Messiah, who came, the Christ, are still Israel. But the Gentiles are also now Israel because we're grafted in. And so Israel is even bigger now. No one was replaced. However, there were people that rejected Christ, and rejecting Christ is not a good thing. And so we should pray for those people to come to know Christ. And in the end times, we understand they will. But for now, to refer to Israel of 1948, the geographical state, as the Israel of the Bible is actually a heresy that comes from dispensationalism. It was born in Britain but spread in America. And it's a grave sin. But many unformed and uncatechized evangelicals fall into this trap of thinking that we must worship, and they almost idolize Israel, and they put Israel above Christ sometimes, as if it cannot be questioned. It must be, we must show obedience to and bow our heads. That is not Christianity. Christianity is to worship Christ alone.
So it's the confusion then that they called it Israel.
Oh yeah. So I mean, I could call my God an Israel, right? It doesn't make it the Israel of the Bible. It would be the same name. Just as you can call your son Jesus, doesn't make him Jesus of the Bible. Like, yes, it was set in the same place, but it wasn't the same people. And even genetically, the Ashkenazi Jews are not the same Jews. They are not even, most of them aren't even Semitic. So you can't be anti-Semitic against these people. But I'm not saying you should be. I'm just saying that it's not the same people anyway. And it's a common mistake. We had one of the lovely people at your wedding who I genuinely adore was on this. So she was like, I need to talk to you about the Jews. Oh gosh, here we go. So actually, I'll get him to. And she pointed at one of the best theologians that you and I know. I went out for dinner with him, and he was like, oh, actually, and I'm not mentioning names on purpose because it's up to him to share what he wants to say publicly. He was like, yeah, you're right. I'm learning a lot from this. I'm like, thank you. But of course, she wouldn't hear it because she wasn't catechized as well.
Yeah,
and this is the problem.
The problem is jacks of all trades and master of nones, and that's the difficulty. And as the world does, as the new fad, not new fadder, but to a lot of people it is a fad, the new rebellious thing to do is to become a Christian rather than to become a transgender non-binary person. People will jump onto that bandwagon very quickly and not understand the details of what you were saying. I think it's strange. He didn't call you anti-Semitic. He said, why is he pumping out this anti-Semitic crap? And I think
which part of it was hateful on Jews?
Yeah, that's the difficult bit. As you say, every ideology and religion should and can be mocked. And my dad doesn't like it when my kids blaspheme. He doesn't like it when I blaspheme. But, at the end of the day, he's not going to bend us over his knee and beat us for it now. And I think that the more that we can criticize any ideology, the better, actually. And I have noticed a very strong, coming together. I mean, just looking at the Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro set 2 and the Ted Cruz conversation, which was very long. But
even Charlie Kirk, who's a massive Zionist, is starting to say, actually, as a Christian, I can criticize the state of Israel. I can criticize Benjamin Netanyahu without disrupting my faith. I'm like, yes, you're starting to get it. Yeah, because where this leads is, it was Bachia Ungar Sargon who recently said this at I think it was what was it, Center for National Social Science. I don't know. There was a conservative event, and Connor Tomlinson was there, and Matthew Goodwin, and people like that. And she said it was disgusting and hateful for Matt Goodwin to question whether Islam is incompatible with British traditions, because she described the West as Judeo-Christian Muslim worldview. And I'm like, firstly, it's never disgusting or hateful to ask the question of whether something is incompatible, because maybe it is, but maybe it isn't. But asking the question isn't saying that it is, right? It's discovering. So that's that woke twist. But also, the West is not Judeo-Christian or Muslim. The West is Christian. And yes, part of Christianity came from Judaism of 2,000 years ago, which is very different to the Judaism of today. But also, because the Judaism of today is a reaction to Christianity, but also it was never Muslim. The West was never Muslim. In fact, we fought off the Islamic invasions through the Crusades, through Reconquista. So it's an outright lie to paint it as Judeo-Christian or Judeo-Christian Muslim. And people will say, yes, but we have to honor the Jews because they were so persecuted. You can honor them if you want to in your own personal faith. That's not the Christian faith, but you do what you like. But you don't need to put a caveat before Christian, because Christian is all-encompassing. Old Testament and New Testament. And for 2,000 years, we've understood that. So we don't need to now add a suffix, a prefix to it, because we know what Christianity means.
Yeah. So I think your point is logical and sound reasonable. Doesn't seem to me to be anti-Semitic at all. But I don't think it's interesting he didn't call you anti-Semitic. He just said it was anti-Semitic stuff. So you cleared it out. I know how much
it probably is, right? To most people, it probably is. If you see the word Judaism or Israel that's not in a reverential, venerational way, it is anti-Semitic, because it's the woke thing of it's no longer good enough to not be racist. You have to be anti-racist, right? It's no longer good enough to not be anti-Semitic. You have to be pro-Zionist. Like, actually, no, as a Christian, I'm not Zionist or anti-Semitic. I'm just a Christian. No.
People call me a Zionist on my social media feeds quite a lot of the time, and I have no idea what it means, and I'm not interested in knowing either. Is it like unwavering support for the state of Israel? Is that a Zionism?
People have different descriptions, but I use the one that my Jewish friends use. Right, in Israel, they say that Zionism is Jewish nationalism, and I'm like, right. Good, I get that. That's good for you, but not for me. I want Christian nationalism. I want my country to be Christian. I want a nation founded on Christian values, founded on Jesus Christ. I like what they have in Israel. I want that for me too, but in a Christ-centered way. And so I don't think a Christian can be a Christian Jewish nationalist. A Christian should be a Christian nationalist.
I know how much you love talking about politics.
No, I do not. Before we move on to the topic, can I just say, my Common Sense Crusade, which of course was on Talk Radio, then Talk TV, then GBUs, now Lotus Eaters, is going on a hiatus. So this is the last month I'm going to do it for a while until I get back to the UK, because it's been difficult doing it remotely. But also, I'm genuinely tired of UK politics and news. I cannot do this every single day. So I realized that I was on, 2 weeks ago, I was on my show and I was talking about, on the Monday, they voted through the most liberal abortion laws in the world, decriminalization of abortion up to enduring birth. And I had to describe that. On the Friday, they voted through euthanasia, eugenics of the elderly and vulnerable. And I realized I had a tear dripping down my cheek. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to become Jordan Peterson. I think that's embarrassing to cry on air. Bless him. Love him. But also, it's just too much. It's too dark. It's too heavy all the time. And I figured, whilst I'm blessed with being in these United States, I will continue to fight the good fight as best I can. But I can't keep talking about these things every single day, because they never change.
No, I know, I'm with you. But the question I was going to ask was, is England and is the West, let's put America out of it for the time, but is England still a Christian country? So I don't think it is.
Legally, yes. As in, we have a state church. It's a part of the establishment. We've got bishops in the House of Lords. The king has to swear an allegiance, a pledge to be defender of the faith. So yes, technically it's a Christian country, but for the first time in our country's history, Christianity is not the predominant faith. And I think the established state church is no longer Christian. I think it is apostate. There are good laymen and good priests within it, but the bishops, 99% of them are liberal, and liberalism is contradictory to Christianity. And so they've taken it down, contraception, divorce, abortion, same-sex marriage, trans archdeacons. They've taken it down every dark path they can away from the scriptures and away from sacred tradition. So I struggle to answer that question today.
Yeah, I don't think it is a Christian country anymore. I don't reckon, as I frequently say, I don't. I occasionally, as I said, I go to London and the cities are where these things are most elevated, but it's absolutely unrecognisable as a British Western, not even vaguely English. And I was watching Test match yesterday, and it's interesting that the Indians and the English get on well, isn't it? There's naturally quite a good relationship between the Indian community and the native English community. And I was watching the Test match, and I was thinking it was quite sweet. But also, I was trying to work out where the Test match was being played in England. Do you know what I mean? It was interesting, but What else has happened for us to cover? That it was the only thing I really wanted to cover before we get up and running properly next week. I wanted to. Oh yes, this is coming to culture stores. Unity is our
very nice,
strength.
very nice.
Yeah. Oh look, I also dyed my beard with Just for Men.
Yeah, I remember advising you against that.
No, because it's grey.
It's
My
bacon
hair
gay.
is blonde.
It's bacon gay.
Sort of reddy blonde. But
Men should grow old gracefully. Women have to worry about going grey and their hair thinning and all that kind of. Men don't. We just either we go grey or we go bald, and we just take it on the chin.
It's all right from Captain 6'4" over there. But some of us have got, we've got to work it. I've got my new tat. I think I had the new tat.
Yeah, you did have that last time.
When we did the last one. Okay, well, that's good. And with Scathos, which you're now not coming to because you can't,
It's just too far and too expensive. I can't make it work. I tried really hard because I love our holiday. It's the best time of the year. But I'm gonna have to stay here and stick to the beach. Actually, I need to be around for a bit anyway this summer. I don't think I can afford a holiday, not in terms of financially, but just in terms of we've got so much to do here and we've been through so much that I need to kind of lock in for a while first before I can take some time off.
I agree. I'm going for, I had a very good bit of advice from one of the lawyers who's dealing with my lawfare. And she's one of the best in the field. And there's so many fascinating things and bits of good news, which I wish I could share with you, but I can't. But it doesn't detract from the bad news, which is that state are hell-bent on destroying my life and that of my family. She said to me something really interesting. She said, when I had the last meeting for various applications she's making, she said, you know what, Laurence, you're getting married. Your family must come first. Turn off everything. Don't think about this until September when we have to think about it again. So just take the time to just enjoy your wife, enjoy your kids, enjoy your new family, your blended family, and enjoy the stuff that you enjoy doing. And shoot is the best bit of advice I've got, because I went back to writing my book. I went back to writing music, which I love doing. And I've got back to sort of gardening and failed bike DIY. And I don't really, I'll open Twitter probably once a day. And I'll look at it and I'll go, oh God. But the more time you sort of discipline yourself away from social media, the less you want to be on it.
Oh yeah.
The more you start to realize that turning on social media is actually, you're abusing yourself slightly. Because you're succumbing to your baser instincts, which is anger, revenge, dogmatism, all of this sort of stuff. And what are you getting out of it?
That's so true. But I don't like who I am when I'm on social media. Like, I snap back and it's like, you're defensive. It's like, why? But these people are not even, half the time, they're not even real people. They're bots. Like, why are you engaging? It's true.
Well, I suppose it is the way of transmitting the message, should there be a message, to the broader community, and it is very powerful, and it does change people's lives. But I think basically the time to use social media is when something very significant happens, like those two instances you raised, that the abortion up to birth, which is just satanic, and the murder of old people, which is also satanic. So I think when you have big instances, but you can open that phone every single day and find something to get upset about. The girl who was kicked out of school yesterday for wearing an English dress, that drives me mad. And I understand that the American shows that roll daily, and they talk. But I've also thought, I have no idea what's going on at Reform. I have no idea what is going on at the Conservatives, really. I have no idea what's going on at Labour. I have no idea what's going on in politics. And I don't care one bit.
Exactly.
And there will come a time when I'll need to care again.
Yeah, but we're allowed some respite from it.
Yeah, it's really important actually to have respite from it. And you feel much more hopeful, optimistic. You get a lot more out of your day. Yeah. I'm now training a lot more often. And I've got past, there must be a hill, like with anything, I suppose, giving up booze or giving up cigarettes or whatever, where it's just not that fun. Actually, there is, because I've given up booze before and it was not fun for the first week or so. but with training as well. But now I've got to this point with it where I go, I actually quite look forward to it. I'm like, I'm looking forward to this. I get to empty my brain.
Well,
my only job is to just try and push harder than I did before, and and run a little bit quicker and all of that sort of stuff. And actually, I've gone. That's much better pathway to spiritual well-being. That, and obviously being the luckiest man in the world in finding a wife who is not some sort of woke liberal and doesn't want to, she's aced her law exams, amazing woman she is, and she's gonna do something amazing with her qualifications, and I kind of wouldn't mind watching her succeed. I don't have this thing anymore of really, I don't want to be miserable about stuff that's not going to change until it changes in a significant way, when it's really worth to go, right, here's your line in the sand.
Yeah.
Here's where, and seeing as those lines get scuffed and ripped and moved along anyway, what is the point? It's like, just keep going on the nourishment of your own life, your own soul, and your own skills, and your own world.
Yeah. Because
that's going to make you a lot happier than trying to please or get likes. It's so sad, all the likes. I used to like likes. I was like, why? Oh, that got read a lot of times. Wow. Yeah. Now I'm just like, oh, who cares?
No, nobody. But yeah, so I'm enjoying this respite. I'm going to start some new shows that are more faith-based. I've got a couple of great ideas I want to work on in the short term.
Good.
I love that. But in terms of training, also, like, I don't think not for everyone, it doesn't always switch. I've been going to the gym since I was about 15. My dad used to pick me up before college. We'd go every single day before college. I come from a family that they love that, bless them. And here in America, I have to go five times a week. Otherwise, can you imagine how big I'd be if I didn't? But never enjoy it until I leave. What I love is when you come out of the gym and you're full of dopamine, and you kind of like, yes, I got through it, I did it, etc. But I never love going, never love doing it. So I don't know if it changes for everybody. But I am going to be starting a taekwondo club here soon, because the discipline is important, especially for young men. We need that kind of solid discipline, not just prayer, but also our souls, but also our bodies. We've got to keep going with this stuff.
Yeah, I think it's all tied in together, and I do think all of the old truisms of a healthy body and a healthy mind are much better. But I also like a bit of advice here and there as well. Why not?
We've got a few questions.
Yeah. Okay.
Mark said, you've warned about censorship for years, but are people becoming numb to it now? What would it take to break through that apathy?
It will take it happening to you. That's what I've come to the conclusion, that I really understand why so few people want to engage in cultural issues, because the upsides are non-existent and the downsides are huge. So people will walk slowly into a censorship-driven state without just looking the other way, because they'll just go, well, fine, if I don't say that, and it's not going to get me fired from work, or, they will. But it has to happen to so many people. It has become so normalized. It's why communism always lasts for about 40 odd years, doesn't it? Or sometimes longer. But it's generational sapping of the desire to ever express yourself and to just bleakly accept the misery of the socialist state. So it's coming. It'll be, I think huge numbers of people will be. I think 2027 is going to be a very important year. I just have an instinct of faith that is an important year. And as we head towards the end of the 2030s and this demographic change that we have, unprecedented national destruction that we've been subjected to, becomes so evident, the younger generation are just going to go mental, and they're very based, most of the younger generation. And when I'm talking about younger, I'm talking about 13, 14-year-olds. Their parents are sick of being treated like second-class citizens in a two-tier country. So their parents are raising their children to have the strength that maybe they couldn't have. And I think that's coming. It's just going to take a lot more misery first. What do you think?
Yeah, you're right. To break through the apathy, it has to affect people personally, directly. And so things have to get worse before more people wake up. And I also agree with you that younger generations are more reactionary to this stuff because they've grown up in this tepid world. And so they want to flip it around. So I'm fairly optimistic about the future there. Charlie said, real talk, would you ever run for office again? Or is politics so broken now that even someone like you can't fix it?
Who's he asking? Me?
Yeah.
I would for London Mayor. I would, yeah. I would, just to ban the burqa, really. Just to say, I know it sounds stupid, but these things are simple. You've got to have a pride in your own your culture, whether that be through religion or whether it be something else. You do not go to Morocco and walk around in a miniskirt. You don't, because they take themselves seriously. And if your culture doesn't take itself seriously and it doesn't respect the values of open transparency, look at what all these kids are doing with face masks and balaclavas, using those as excuses to avoid a surveillance state and commit heinous acts of murder and robbery against each other. You should not have your face covered in London. There should be no Sharia courts in London. There should only be English law in London. And we've got to get rid of the two-tier policing system in London. And London needs to kick up the arse and have a broken windows policing policy. And it should be a hub of free speech and good arts and all of that sort of thing, but it isn't. It's just dreadful. I went to the cinema the other day, admittedly not in London, locally, and I walked in. It was just a sea of trans flags, and it was just like, what's going on here? I'm like, I don't want that.
No,
in the same way as if you want to sit at home,
did you watch F1?
Yes, I did. Yeah, it was. Brad Pitt is an excellent actor. I thought the rest of them were quite Hollyoaksy, and Javier Bardem, they're good, but the rest of them I thought were pretty average. But it was what I'm trying to say is our culture isn't the trans flag. Our culture isn't people dressed in burqas, niqabs, and all that. It's not our culture.
No.
So our capital city should reflect our culture, not someone else's culture.
No.
Not someone else's political will, not someone else's political ideology, or not someone else's religious ideology either. There should be no mosques in London. There shouldn't be any mosques in London. Why are there mosques in London? Or if there are, there could be a limited number, like you would get in however you invert these countries that you much prefer to liberal democracies where you don't throw homosexuals off roofs. Just do that in total return, and just go, okay, there are some Muslims here, so you can have a mosque here or there. But what building mosques should stop immediately. Trocadero is being turned into a mosque. I used to love
going to Trocadero as a kid, playing games.
Yeah, me too. And I would end it. I would say England for the English. And I'm really sorry, Britain first. And I'm not sorry at all, actually. And as soon as a politician says that, I'll stop saying it. Yeah. The thing is, we don't have any politicians other than Jenrick. And, Kemi was the only one who actually, I know you hate talking about politics, but she was the only one who called out 7-7 for what it was. And so I would actually. And, because I want people to talk about it. I don't feel comfortable walking down a road where I can't see anyone's face.
Yeah.
In the same way as if you went to Marrakesh, they don't feel comfortable when you're walking down the street in a mini dress. So it's got to be equal and it has to be fair. And otherwise we lose our country. We've already lost our cities. So, let's take them back.
I also would stand on the platform of making Britain again. I would deport every single Pakistani Muslim based on the data that they represent 4% of the demographics, yet 65% of the child sexual exploitation, child sexual abuse. I'd say that's a demographic we cannot afford to have in our country. We have to protect our most vulnerable. We have to protect our women and our girls. And I would outlaw halal. I would outlaw kosher. I would say we do not have non-stun slaughter in our country. We are more civilized than that. If it upsets other demographics, again, not our business. It's not part of our values. I would change the legal system so that these lefty lawyers stop protecting. I put a tweet out this morning. There was this flipping Afghanistan sex offender. He was on the sex offenders register, and he continued to offend. And we couldn't send him back to Afghanistan because his human rights lawyers said it would put him at risk of physical violence. Right? we're literally protecting sex offenders at the risk of our own women because it's too harmful to send them back. So what if it is at risk of violence?
Our prime minister is one of those people.
Indeed. And someone tweeted me like there's a central legal principle says everyone deserves robust legal defense. And I get that, I really do. But these lefty lawyers, and some of them, this was a Somali man, for goodness sake, Ahmed something. Of course, he's going to defend his own in this way. That we should not have foreign lawyers, we shouldn't have Mohammedan lawyers defending foreign Mohammedan abusers in this country and getting them a legal right to stay. That needs to be done.
I'm going to take you another level. I don't think we should have allowed Muslim MPs.
No, not at all. I agree.
I cannot see how those people who are stood behind and who are always sat behind Farage in PMQs and this man Tahir Ali and this Zara Sultana and these people who have never advocated once for any British issue that I've ever heard, ever. They only advocate for Islamic issues. They only advocate for Muslim countries. They do not represent Britain on any level. And I do not see how you can have a Muslim MP.
Islam is a conflicting ideology. It doesn't help us. And people who are in there that get elected on the basis of vote for Gaza should not be representing people in Britain. Like, go and run in Gaza if you want to run Gaza, for goodness sake.
Well, but we've got it. Yeah, that's what I reckon too. But you've got it. There's got to be I don't think we can persecute all Muslims because there are some Muslims who are like Christians. They just say they're Muslim, but they're not really. They just come from Muslim families, but they're just basically.
I'm not saying we need to persecute them. I'm not saying there's no place for Islam in Britain.
But there will be
found on a warmongering paedophile. So if you want to subscribe to that, go and do it elsewhere. It's just not welcome in our country.
I think you'd need to convert to Christianity, or certainly.
We don't have to. It's a free country, but we wouldn't allow Satan worship in our country, and we shouldn't allow Muhammad worship in our country. It's just contradictory to our way of life, unfortunately.
We do allow Satan worship in our country. I feel people know it instinctively that this is going to be a huge issue. I think that Zara Sultana Corbyn party, if it gets joined by the Muslim vote and 5 pillars and all of this sort of stuff, because let's face it, the left and the way that radical Islam is using the left to get more power, that sort of terrible Venn diagram of leftism and radical Islam, we could see a major Islamic political force by 2029, a major one. And then you just need to read Submission by Michael Hillenberg, and you'll know what's going on. So I think it begins with the small things. And the small things are, you've got to be able to take the piss out of someone's religion. You've got to. You don't have to do it, but you've got to. You cannot be living fear of your life for doing so.
Mm.
There's still a Batley grammar school teacher hidden away somewhere, and Muslims will not talk about that. And I'm sorry, that is one of the things that I'm most fearful of. It's the censorship that comes with that horrible, unhealthy relationship between the Islam and the left, which manifests itself in gays for Gaza or whatever it is.
Sarah reads on our last question, says, if Christ returned today, what do you think he'd say about the state of the West spiritually and politically? I think he would probably say the same thing he said last time. Woe to you, Pharisees and scribes. I think he would really criticize the church, big C, across the board. He'd criticize the faith leaders across the board. I don't think he'd be very happy with the state of things. And I don't think he'd see much faith amongst the people, unfortunately.
Yeah, you know more than I do when it comes to that. But I keep being reminded of that verse. What is it? I was talking to Larry about it because of some of the, difficulties in some relationships that go on in life. And as much as it is up to you, or as much as in your power, where is it? It's Romans, is it? What is it? Come on, Calv, you'll know it.
Sorry, I don't know.
As much as it's in your...
If it is possible, as far as depends on you, live at peace with everyone.
diversity, and there is something in that as well. So I don't want to throw out all of the babies with the bathwater. I don't want to go just because you're a Pakistani Muslim, you've got to go. There will be people that are Pakistani and nominally Muslim who come from well-educated parts of Pakistan who are much more secular and who are successful and hate the atrocities that are committed in the name of Islam, and they wouldn't associate themselves. So we have to remember that it is only those who are very strident in their practicing of Islam that need to be feared, and those that have cultural values that are completely antithetical to Western cultural values. Like, you can marry a girl at 6 and consummate that marriage at 9. It's like, absolutely not. That's Richard that's Eleanor of Aquitaine. That's 1300 in Great Britain. Go develop 600 years and do it quickly, Islam, please, because you're all over the shop, and the West is not going to take kindly to you. And America particularly is not, just as they see the Islamification of America begin, start to really take hold. There are already big swathes of I think it's Minneapolis, isn't it? Which is got a large Islamic community. America's going to turn around and reject that. But America a lot of American immigration is Catholic immigration. Well, nominally Catholic immigration, whereas our immigration seems to be, not only are we getting the absolute worst of the real Stone Age people, but we're getting them from the worst part of the Stone Age culture.
Well, it is Stone Age. It can't develop. It was founded on the principle of marrying at 6 and consummating at 9. That's what Muhammad did himself. Over here in the States, it's Michigan. It's this state, but it's on the east in Dearborn, which has the biggest demographic of Arabs of anywhere else combined. But because America's so big, it's just there. Yeah. So I don't think Americans are as aware of how toxic an ideology it is. Whereas in the UK, it's just, or in Britain, it's just everywhere, isn't it? Every major city is pretty much Islamified.
Well, I just wish that people would separate out the criticism of Islam from the individual Muslim. And this is what I have so much difficulty with people. I know I can love you. I'm commanded to love you just because you're Muslim, but I really don't like Islam. It doesn't affect my love of you. It affects my love. It's like how people can't get that past that. But that's, again, the part of Islam, which is like, you can't criticize me. And it's like, yes, I can. That's what a conquering ideology does. You're not allowed to criticize it. Look at what the dear German watercolorist did with his flag.
There are two ideologies that we're not allowed to criticize, and we discussed them both on this show. And I think me and you, our problem is that we don't care. We criticize either, and that's what gets us in trouble.
I don't have. I've not. I'm very happy to criticize Judaism and tell Jewish jokes. I don't care about any of it. I'll mock anything, because otherwise I'm not. I'm living in a prison that I've made for myself. Nah, sorry. If you're going to stick me in prison, then you might as well build it for me, because I'm not going to imprison my own mind. Never.
At the end of the day, I think you're right in that we hate the ideology, but we love the person. And because we love the person, we want them to come to know Jesus, who is Lord. And at the end of the day, Christ is King. And that's for everybody.
Amen.
Should we end with a prayer?
Again? Let's do it.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. May the venerable intercession of the glorious Virgin Mary come to our aid, we pray thee, O Lord, so that fortified by her protection, we may reach the mountain which is Christ, who liveth and reigneth with thee in the unity of the Holy Spirit, ever one God, world without end. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. It's good to be back, Bray.
It is good to be back. Are we going to do this regularly now, every week?
Yeah.
Yeah?
We are.
You guys heard it here.
You heard it here. We need to agree on the time, which is going to be.
I think we have. We're recording on Tuesdays at 3:30, 5 o'clock. Yeah.
5 p.m. my time, your time, whatever.
Midday.
What is it? Noon. All right. Well, this has been episode 1, season 3. Lovely to have you. Go to the culture stores, and it should be up soon. I'm actually just getting it slightly redesigned because I want the diversity crossed out properly. It's overlaid. Okay. And get one of those and wear your resistance. all of our stock is selling really well. These lanyards, the I Love Free Speech lanyards and Union Jack ones are selling really well because people want to. It's a very little moderate way of walking into the office and going, I'm not wearing rainbow anymore. But there we are. I love you. I'm getting so sweaty.
I don't know if we did a Fox and Father follows, and I don't know if I've done this before, so I'll throw this out to Bob the Builder, who is at BTBSOCO. He is one of the best Christian apologists we have today.
Okay, and that's good. And my follow is David Betts, DAVID BETZ. David Betts wrote a book, I think, called The Coming Civil War, but he talks about it a lot, and he is very bravely speaking out. He's an academic at Buckingham University in political trends and various things. So yeah, awesome.
And shout out to Lacey and Theon as well. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Lacey and Theon, and we will see you next week.
Cheers.
Bye.